Hey everybody, it's Erin. I'm here tonight with your On Tap news recap for Drunken Disorderly Media. Before we get into tonight's headlines, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, North Spokane CBD. Have you ever tried CBD or hemp buds? Well, we've got a great deal for you. You can use discount code DRUNK, DRUNK, at northspokanecbd.com and get 15% off your order. Guys, their cherry pie hemp buds, fucking phenomenal. North Spokane CBD offers pesticide-free, high-quality, third-party tested cannabis-derived CBD products. You are not going to get any of that nasty stuff here. So remember, discount code DRUNK for 15% off at northspokanecbd.com. Tonight's headlines are crazy, y'all. Did you see the headline, the 14-year-old girl who had to set up a camera to prove physical abuse by her father? The footage that she turned over is crazy. So the story says that a Florida teen set up hidden cameras in her home to prove her claims of physical abuse. The 14-year-old turned the footage over to the sheriff in a little town in the Panhandle on January 2nd, and officers later arrested her father, who's 47, charged him with felony child abuse and misdemeanor tormenting an animal. He was released January 3rd after posting $4,000 in bail. The footage captured by the cameras set up by the girl showed her father grabbing her by the hair, slamming her head against a bedpost, according to the arrest warrant. He also held a knife to the dog and threatened to mutilate it. He said some horrible things. He said, "I'll cut this fucking goddamn dog's fucking eyeballs out. I'll fucking do it." The mother of the teen, who does not live with the girl, said that the girl had previously reported abuse, but authorities didn't believe her until she got it on tape. Mom was quoted as saying, "Nothing was done. Nothing has ever been done to help my daughter. She absolutely knew something bad was going to happen, and nobody would believe her unless she had that on film." The arrestee could not be immediately reached for comment on Wednesday at the work numbers listed on his arrest report. Like, go figure. Who thinks he's probably now unemployed? Other than me. Absolute fucking nightmare. Stupid news. It's ridiculous when we have somebody being assaulted to that level and they have to get it on tape to get anybody to even investigate it. But red flag laws exist. Like, let that shit sink in. In other news, a Kentucky student was expelled from a private Christian school over a rainbow shirt and a cake, her mother claims. A Louisville, Kentucky high school student is claiming that she was expelled over a photo of her posing with her birthday cake because the cake and the sweater she was wearing were both decorated with rainbows. However, the private Christian school denies the allegations and claims that there is more to the story. Kayla Kennedy was celebrating her 15th birthday with family when her mom, Kimberly, snapped a photo of Kenny smiling with her cake and posted the picture on Facebook. She was happy. She looked beautiful, Mom says. Alfred, that's the mom, said that shortly after she posted the photo, she was contacted by the head of Whitefield Academy, Dr. Bruce Jacobson, who informed her that her daughter, who had been attending a private school for 4 years, was expelled because of a social media post. According to the mom, she claims the Kentucky school informed her that the color of her daughter's cake and the sweater she was wearing was demonstrating a posture of morality and cultural acceptance contrary to that of Whitefield Academy's beliefs. We all know rainbows are often used as symbols for GSM communities. Alfred has said that the shirt and cake were not used to make a statement about orientation, that her daughter's not gay. Nothing intended by the rainbow or the color. I even went back and got a receipt from the bakery. It didn't say anything about representation. It just said assorted colors. In a statement to Fox News, the school, however, maintains that the decision was not solely for a social media post, but because of violations of the student code of conduct numerous times over the past 2 years. The school says in the fall, we met with the student to give her a final chance to begin to adhere to our code of conduct. Unfortunately, she did not live up to the agreement and therefore has been expelled. Whitefield Academy is a Christian-based school with a 43-year history of educating students in a learning environment informed by their shared Christian values. The school did not explicitly state what the numerous violations were or whether they occurred on campus or outside of school. According to Whitefield Academy's Code of Conduct, however, students can be punished for lifestyle violations that happen off campus. The mom claims the school would not meet with her, but changed the expulsion to a voluntary withdrawal. The mother has since enrolled her daughter in public school, but is appealing the expulsion. Mom's quoted as saying, you know, we teach our kids, what would Jesus do? What would he do here? She was, however, not immediately available to talk when contacted. So let's dig into this one. This will be the first place where I get to piss people off tonight. Look, I think what happened was shitty. It's all around shitty. But this is a private school, and private schools get to set those rules. Mom clearly knew kind of the culture of the school when she chose to enroll her daughter there. Maybe you should have seen this coming. And honestly, if it bugs you, good. Do something about it. Find a different public school. Start a charter school. Reach to a Montessori school. Personally, public schools may or may not be your best option. Obviously, I don't know all of the details of their financial situation, their schedules. But, I mean, if you had your kid in one public school or one private school, my guess is you can probably find another one that maybe suits your morals and cultural values a little bit better. You know, go figure. Let's get to our next headline. And our next piece is coming from The Guardian. Man requests sword fight with ex-wife and lawyer to settle dispute. Now, look, personally, like, props to him. Cool way to handle a dispute, I guess. A Kansas man has asked an Iowa judge to let him engage in a sword fight with his ex-wife and her attorney in trial by combat that will settle their ongoing legal dispute. 40-year-old gentleman from Paola, Kansas, said in a January 3rd court filing that his former wife of Harlan, Iowa, and her attorney had destroyed him legally. The judge had the power to let the parties resolve our disputes on a field of battle legally, he says, adding in his filing that trial by combat has never been explicitly banned or restricted as a right in these United States. He also asked the judge for 12 weeks' time so he could secure Japanese samurai swords. Dude, if they're coming through customs, you're going to need more than 12 weeks. Just FYI. This couple has been embroiled in disputes over custody and visitation issues and property tax payments. His motion filed in Shelby County District Court stemmed from his frustrations with his ex-wife's attorney, he told the Des Moines Register. I think I've met Mr. Hudson's absurdity with my own absurdity, he said, adding that his former wife could choose Hudson to act as her champion. Hudson argued in his legal response that because a duel could end in death, such ramifications likely outweigh those of property tax and custody issues. Well, dude, maybe. I guess that depends on who you ask. Hudson asked that the judge reject the request for trial by combat. The judge said in his own filing that he will not be issuing a decision anytime soon, citing irregularities with both sides' motions and responses until proper procedural steps to initiate a court proceeding are followed. This court will take no further action concerning any motion, objection, or petition filed by either party at this time. Y'all, we are seriously living in a world where people are asking for trial by combat to settle a divorce dispute. Like, what the fuck? Here's my favorite headline of the night. Sanders campaign organizer, free education, Gulags needed to re-educate you to not be a fucking Nazi. This is coming from Real Clear Politics. Great headline. Free education policies to teach you how to not be a fucking Nazi. There's a reason Stalin had gulags. Expect violent reaction for speech if Bernie doesn't get nomination. Milwaukee will burn. Now, all of that is coming from James O'Keefe in a tweet. A campaign organizer for Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders warned about mass violence and advocated for the use of gulags for re-education in a conversation caught on tape by James O'Keefe's Project Veritas. In the undercover video, Kyle Jurek, an Iowa field organizer for the Sanders campaign, said the country will have to spend billions on re-education for people who are Nazified. Jurek said that the candidate's free education policies will teach you how to not be a fucking Nazi. He touted post-war Germany spending money to re-educate people not to be Nazis. He also said that people should expect violent reaction for speech and warned that Milwaukee will burn if Sanders does not get the nomination. Heads up, all our viewers in Milwaukee. Be careful. Milwaukee is the location of the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Do you even think that some of these like MAGA people could be re-educated? An undercover reporter asked. I mean, we got to try, Jurek answered. Like in Nazi Germany, after the fall of the Nazi Party, there was a shit ton of the populace that was fucking Nazified. Germany had to spend billions of dollars re-educating their people to not be Nazis. Like, we're probably going to have to do the same thing here. That's kind of what Bernie's like. Hey, free education for everybody, because we're going to have to teach you to not be a Nazi. He goes on to say if Bernie doesn't get the nomination or it goes to a second round, Milwaukee will burn. It'll start in Milwaukee, and then when the police push back on that, other cities will just blow up sound. The cops are going to be the ones that are getting a beating in Milwaukee, he added. He went on to suggest that the use of gulags for re-education of Trump supporters and praised political labor camps. He said gulags have been misunderstood and were actually a lot better than described, noting people were paid a living wage and allowed conjugal visits. Now, we're going to get into that, all of that nonsense that is absolute bullshit here in just a second. This gentleman goes on to say there's a reason Joseph Stalin had gulags, right? Yeah, because he was a fucking psychopath. That's why. Actually, gulags were a lot better than what the CIA has told us they were. Like, people were actually paid a living wage in gulags. They had conjugal visits in gulags. Gulags were actually meant for, like, re-education. Greatest way to breaking a fucking billionaire of their like privilege is the idea that they're superior. Go out and break rocks for 12 hours a day. Now you're a working class person, and you're gonna fucking learn what that means, right? So, Mr. Jurek, you're a fucking idiot. And gulags were not better than we were told. And I'm telling you that because I know someone who was in a gulag in the 70s. Alexander Ginsburg, who was a huge positive influence on my life, spent time not once, but twice in the gulag system in what was the former USSR. There were no conjugal visits. There was no living wage. What there was 20 to 30, sometimes 40 prisoners in the same room and a big kind of walled hole in the floor with a stone on top of it that you could move to shit and piss. What there was very little food. What there was freezing temperatures. What you saw all the time were people having digits amputated due to frostbite, water, rats. It was nasty. Gulags are not good places. But since Mr. Jurek seems to think they are, maybe if we're going to have a serious conversation about reinstituting gulags, it would be my suggestion that, he go first. Those are your headlines tonight. This has been your On Tap News Recap, hosted by Drunken Disorderly Media, sponsored by NorthSpokaneCBD.com. Stick around. We'll see you tomorrow with more news. Thanks, guys.